Hello folks, Jack here from Peach Guitars, and you join me today not for a tale of two tones, but in fact a tale of two guitars. But before I get into this special video today featuring Mr. Tony Iommi's massive tones, let me please remind you to leave a like, comment down below with your thoughts, and make sure you're subscribed as well. Alright, so I start there by saying that this is a tale of two guitars. For those who are unaware, recently the Gibson Custom shop released a very limited edition of 50 pieces of this, the Gibson Tony Iommi 1964 SG Special, or the Monkey guitar as it's more commonly referred to. There's 25 pieces of this, the right-handed guitar, and there's also 25 pieces of the left-handed guitar that's over my shoulder. And we're very fortunate in the shop to have stock of both of them. So in this video, I want to pay a little bit of tribute to Tony Iommi, as in general, just his amazing tone that he had when he was using this guitar primarily. It was really the sound that came to define the band, it came to define him, and more importantly, it came to define the genre of heavy metal entirely. In Gibson recreating this, what they've inadvertently done is they've made us all pay a little bit more attention to where this mammoth music genre actually started from, and truth be told, it all started from this humble little Gibson mid-60s SG Special, with a few important modifications that were made to it by Tony. Okay, so it has been known in recent years that Gibson do a very good job of recreating these kind of historical guitars in the guise of their Collector's Choice series, which is where, you know, whether it's a collector or just a famous artist, whatever it might be, they take, you know, a prized instrument of theirs and they recreate it in the finest detail possible. It is very unusual, however, to see an SG, and even more unusual to see an SG with single coil pickups, as the SG Special originally was. So just as an instrument, aside from all the artistic connection that this guitar has, just as an instrument and as a repro, this is one of my favourite Gibson Custom Shop guitars that we've had in a long time, because I love SGs, I love single coil pickup SGs, or more specifically the P90s and stuff. It's pretty much bred for one thing, and that is to recreate some of those classic 70s metal riffs. But I want to take a bit of a deeper dive on what actually makes this guitar what it is. So obviously, as I'm sure many people will know, Tony Iommi suffered a very tragic accident in the early days of his playing career that meant he almost had to stop playing guitar entirely by basically cutting off the ends of his fingertips on his fretting hand, which is a horrendous ordeal for any musician to have to go through. But rather than giving up, he adapted his playing style and subsequently also the way his instruments actually functioned. So, as an example of that, the way he adapted these instruments, the most notable thing that sets this guitar apart from many other Gibson guitars that you'll see is this, the gloss polyurethane finished fingerboard. On top of this rosewood fingerboard, there's actually a coating of poly here. And that was done basically to make it just easier for his fingers to glide around the fretboard. There was less resistance on the fingerboard as well. And I think his idea was just to basically make it as easy as possible and as slinky as possible to cover all the frets, particularly as he was known to chord a lot on the lowest strings and move them quite quickly. Without necessarily skipping the strings, he would usually move up and down the frets more rapidly. Now, something at the top end of the fingerboard that probably often gets overlooked, in fact, is this. It's got a 0 fret on this guitar, which is more common on instruments like Gretsch's, for example, but the 0 fret actually adds a totally different tone to the open strings. It makes them ring out a little bit in a slightly different way, as a fretted note would, because there is a fret there on the open string. And also it means it's a little bit easier to fret the lower frets, I find. It just feels a little bit more linear, starting from the bottom of the neck up to the top. I guess that was just another advancement that Tony decided to put on the guitar, or had put on the guitar, to make his playing experience a little bit easier. There's also a couple of other things that went into the playing experience. For example, this guitar originally had a Tune-o-matic style bridge, which Tony replaced with this single wraparound piece, which I believe was done to accommodate the lighter and lighter gauges of strings that he was having to use to compensate for his fingers. So obviously, as the band's sound got heavier, he decided to down-tune the strings as well, so they ended up moving from standard tuning to C-sharp standard tuning. And that obviously came with some tension difficulties, so he just wanted to make the guitar as easy to play as possible, to use those lighter strings, and that's where this fairly chunky and hefty wraparound tailpiece came in as a replacement. But being faithful to the original guitar, Gibson have included the original screw holes where that bridge would have been. Same thing with the tuners. So this guitar obviously had replacement tuners at some point. I'm guessing these Grover style tuners were put on to accommodate those lower tunings, to make sure you had fewer string slips, but they've included the original screw holes once again on the back of the headstock. So it's just another little detail that would often get overlooked, but it's proof that this guitar was taken over with a very fine toothed comb. Pickups are the largest change as well. So apparently this guitar originally had one bridge pickup. Tony commissioned famous pickup designer back in the day and guitar builder John Birch to build him a second pickup and matching metal cases for each pickup as well. And a nice touch that the custom shop did was they reached out to an apprentice, I believe, of the late John Birch to rebuild these pickups for these guitars. So there's a lot of lineage there that they've kind of kept in the same family vein, which I really, really like. And these pickups sound fantastic as well. They sound unlike any other Gibson pickup I've played before. They really get you that Tony signature snarl, but they're not particularly overwound either. Later on in his career, Tony went to playing higher output humbucking pickups and moved away from this single coil sound. But there's something to this, particularly if you want to go for those sort of first couple of album Sabbath tones. The single coil pickups are really, really key in that sound. there's a great video on Gibson's YouTube channel that they recently did called The Conversation, which was just a sit-down chat between Tony Iommi and Judas Priest guitarist Richie Faulkner. And he asked Tony some really great questions about not only his playing life, but also specifically about this guitar. So if you want to hear more about what Tony's thoughts actually are about this instrument and the recreation of it, then that's a great video to watch. We'll link it in the description below. So rather than just listening to me waffle on about it, you can actually hear what Tony has to say about how he acquired this instrument and how he chose to use it. It's a very interesting story, and it's well worth a watch. If you are a Black Sabbath fan, then this is it. This is the guitar. This is the Grail. This is the instrument that birthed the entire genre of music in the hands of a man who is so legendary in that field. This is his kind of love letter, if you like, or Gibson's love letter to Tony. And just as an instrument to honour him, I don't think they could have possibly done a better job. The little monkey sticker tops it all off, which apparently was just a fun thing that Tony stuck on there when they were touring in the early days. I wanted to draw a bit of attention to this very impressive guitar, this very impressive piece of work from Gibson's Custom Shop, and just pay a little bit of tribute to the godfather of heavy metal by playing a few of his timeless riffs. In my effort to try and recreate Tony's tone as closely as I possibly could, there's only one way to do it. It's not to have loads of distortion, it's to take a very powerful amplifier with a treble booster and turn it up to the point of being loud. So in this room today it was pretty crushing, but we managed to get the tone, I think, pretty close. It sounds excellent, and that's really the only way to do it. I'm sorry to tell you, if you want to play this in your bedroom, it's going to hurt, because this is the only way to get that classic sound. It's just a 100-watt British amp, cranked all the way up with a treble booster, and this amazing guitar, and then surprisingly, a very, very light touch. And that seems to be the magic. I'm not saying I've nailed the tone, but I think we got pretty close at least. You know, that's the way to do it. Just turn the amp up loud. Alright folks, there we are. So I hope you've enjoyed this brief look at this very cool monkey guitar from the Gibson Custom Shop. If you want to find out more information about this guitar set for yourself, then click the link in the description below and head to peachguitars.com, where you'll be able to check out the full spec, the full list of info about this very magical pair of instruments. So I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please leave us a like, comment down below with your thoughts as always. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel and you ring the bell so you're notified of all the videos we make in the future. But until next time, take good care of yourselves, and I'll see you very soon.